everyone. Welcome back to Live with Lori. Hi, Facebook. Hi, Instagram. Welcome back. So this week we're going to just continue getting to know Lori a little more and speak more about elder law. And then at the end, we're going to end with some fun this or that, or would you rather elder law edition. I did want to start off the first question was with a question that we left off on last week. And someone asked about, basically it was about, it was a lump sum question. Like her parents sold their house and she wanted to know if them selling the house was going to impact them being eligible for Medicaid, coverage.
Yes. So were her parents on Medicaid home care, or were there some details, or was it just a general question?
It was just a general question about, is the lump sum going to be a problem?
So
the money.
Yes.
Portion.
Unless they are on Magi Medicaid, which is Medicaid for non-disabled people under 65, who got on it through Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. Yes, there is an asset limit. So if they come into a lump sum of money, so in other words, they had a house which was an exempt resource and they sold it, and now what they have is proceeds which are not an exempt resource. So yes, that would affect their Medicaid. Now we have certain ways that we handle that. Let's say somebody's on home care Medicaid, getting home health aides in the house, we would transfer that money out in the same month that they receive it. So let's say they do the closing on the 10th. They would get their proceeds, they would deposit it in the bank, and then right away we would transfer those proceeds out. Now, maybe they're transferring them to one of their kids, maybe they're doing a trust. Where they go is a different question, but we would get them out of their name in the same month in which they are received, and then we would notify Medicaid before the 10th of the following month, and their services would not be interrupted, assuming we do all of that properly. So they would lose their eligibility for that 1 month, and they would be able to come and seek reimbursement for what Medicaid would be able to seek reimbursement for what Medicaid laid out during that 1 month. So that would be the total exposure, the Medicaid home care.
Got it. And then this is something that you would assist with, like the planning aspect of.
I have seen Medicaid seek that reimbursement, so for what it's worth.
Got it. Perfect. So another question for Medicare, to ensure I receive the health care coverage I need as I age, which I know it's going to be more Medicaid.
That's a very general question. Are eligible to get on Medicare. Medicare is going to pay your doctor bills and your hospital bills, Part A and Part B. So that's going to be your primary insurance. Medicaid would come in if you need long-term care. Let's say you need home health aides in the house. Mm-hmm. Let's say you need nursing home. That's when those are the things that Medicare does not pay for, and we would have to get you eligible for Medicaid in order to get those kind of things covered. Another thing that Medicaid might come in for is if you have low income and low resources and you have trouble making co-pays with your Medicare, you might want to apply for Medicaid just as your co-insurance.
Yes.
If you're eligible for it.
Yeah, and again, Medicaid, the aid part is for people that financially need the aid,
right. Right.
Or
your doctor payments,
yes.
It's your hospitalizations.
Because people ask all the time, we always get that question in our comments.
Yeah, the names are too similar.
Yeah. But yeah, once you remember it like that, you won't forget it. Okay, so yeah, someone wanted to know about what legal documents do I need to appoint someone to make medical and financial decisions on my behalf if Well, I guess that's the first question. And the second part is also if I become incapacitated.
Okay, so the legal documents would be two. You would need a durable power of attorney and a healthcare proxy. The durable power of attorney is the document that appoints someone as your agent who can handle financial things, signing off on things for you. Basically, I consider that handling your finances, handling your money. Healthcare proxy is the document that says, if I can't make my own medical decisions, I want, Joe Smith to make them for me. And that would kick in only if you are unable to make them yourself. The power of attorney is able to be used whether you are or are not able to make your own decisions. You could have your agent under the power of attorney act on your behalf even if you're competent.
Got it. Perfect. So that's the difference. So the durable power of attorney versus a healthcare proxy. So someone said, can you assist me in setting up a trust? We know the answer to this question, but can you assist me in setting up a trust to protect my assets and provide for my spouse or children after I pass away?
Sure.
That's what you do, right? That's what
an elder law attorney. Right. That's what we do.
Yes.
Right, definitely can do that.
Perfect. Okay, so how can I plan for the possibility of needing long-term care while preserving my assets for my heirs? So kind of related, but
okay.
Yeah.
So what we would typically do to kind of plan for long-term care is once we reach a certain age, we want to think about getting our assets protected, getting them out of our name. A typical vehicle that we use for that is a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust. That's a trust which is, I call it irrevocable-ish. It's kind of a hybrid between a revocable trust in a place where Medicaid considers them out of our name, but we still retain our tax benefits as if we own the asset ourselves. We ideally would like to do this into the nursing home. So, we have to look into our crystal ball and figure out when that's going to be. I mean, the idea is to do it while you still have, while you're still in a good state of health.
Yeah.
And you're not too old. You haven't come down with dementia yet. I mean, if you're going to at all, but
yeah, God forbid.
Right.
Yeah.
But
does that have to do with the 5-year look back? Is that really okay?
Yeah. Well,
so that was another question
exactly,
we had
because
about.
nursing home Medicaid has a 5-year look back period, and what that means is if I have a stroke and have to go into a rehab or a nursing home for an extended period of time, it's really expensive. Very expensive. Mm-hmm. So ideally, I would want to be able to get Medicaid to pay for that. So if we apply for Medicaid to pay for the nursing home, Medicaid's going to look back 5 years and say, did you transfer any assets out of your name in the last 5 years? And if you did, they're not going to pay for your nursing home bills. So you want to be able to have them look back 5 years and say, no, I don't see any transfers. And why is that? Well, because I did my transfer 6 years ago, or 5 years and 2 months ago, or, it's an inexact science because we don't know when we're going to get sick and how we're going to get sick and all of that. So, if we're planning ahead, we look at our age, we look at our state of health, and we kind of try to figure it out to the best of our ability. If we get it wrong, then we go back and try to undo what we did and make another plan. But we do our best guesswork.
Yes. So that's about the look back period. We did have a couple questions about that. Okay, next question. How can I plan for the cost of assisted living, which you already started to discuss, or nursing home care without depleting?
Assisted living and nursing home care are two different things. Assisted living is private pay. So, and it's not inexpensive. It's I want to say anywhere between like $4,000 and $12,000 a month, depending on where you go and what services you purchase. It's pricey, so if you're planning to go to assisted living, you need to have some money that you have put away to finance that. Now, some people will sell their house and they'll use that money to pay for the assisted living. So that's one thing. Planning for nursing home is more like what I had mentioned a couple of minutes ago, where we're protecting our assets in a protective trust so that we can run out that 5-year clock.
Got it. And I think I saw a statistic like the average was anywhere from like 40 to 60,000 in terms of paying per year.
Well, in Queens, for instance, a typical nursing home cost is about, let's say, between $16,000 and $20,000 a month. So,
oh wow, yeah,
do that times 12.
Yes,
it's a lot, and assisted living is more like, I kind of think of it as like in the 8,000 to 10,000. I mean, could be lower, could be higher.
Yes,
but that's kind of.
I think the average was like
ballpark.
was like 40 to 60,000 a year, and then sometimes 100,000 plus.
Yeah, I'd have to do that math in my head.
Yeah, which is kind of, if you said 4,000 to 6,000 a month times 10 to 12 months, so that does sound like in that range, more or less. So, you do a lot of work with, disabled family members or people with special needs. So a question was, how can I create a plan to provide for a disabled family member after I am no longer able to care for them?
That's a really important question. I'm just working with someone right now who did absolutely nothing, didn't do a will, didn't do anything whatsoever, and she just passed away, and she has an adult son living in a home for developmentally disabled adults.
Yes.
And if you have a child with disabilities, it is so important that you make a plan for how that person is going to be cared for after you're gone. Chances are they're going to outlive you. We all hope that, right?
Yes.
If we're doing a will, we would put a third-party special needs trust in the will, saying that I'm leaving this money into a third-party special needs trust that's to be used for the purpose of caring for my adult disabled son. And then you would appoint a trustee, and then that person would be able to use those assets for your disabled child's needs without interrupting the Medicaid and the SSI that person is probably getting, which is paying for them to be in the adult home, which is paying for their medical expenses, which is paying for their food. This money that you are leaving for that child's benefit will be able to be used for that child's additional needs besides what the government is already obligated to pay for. So if you do nothing, let's say you have some assets, like you have a house. I'm just thinking of the client that I just mentioned. Let's say you have a house, it's owned free and clear. That house gets sold for $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've done nothing and that's your only child, that child is going to inherit $1 million. What's going to happen immediately? Well, they're going to lose their benefits. They're going to lose their Medicaid. They're going to lose their SSI.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is going to have to go and hire a lawyer and have the lawyer move the court to settle a special needs trust for that child. But that's not going to be a third-party special needs trust like it would be if you left it for them in your will. That's going to be a first-party special needs trust. And what that means is that upon that person's death, Medicaid gets paid back for everything that they spent. for that person's care. Now, let's say, and you know, if that's your only child and it's, you know, a developmentally disabled adult who never had children, blah, 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 okay, maybe we don't care if Medicaid gets paid back after they pass away. But what if that person is disabled but did have children? You know, maybe it's not the same situation that I mentioned. What if they did have children? Their children aren't going to inherit after they die. Medicaid is. So it's really important, if you have a special needs child, to do some special planning.
Perfect. So I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit and have a little fun and do a few would you rather questions. And
is that like the game my daughter used to play, like would you rather have someone gouge out your eye or
exactly.
cut off your leg below the knee?
So we're going to do
awesome.
a few would you rather elder law edition, and then this or that elder law edition. But I came across one, and I think it's like a perfect segue to what you were just talking about. It was, would you rather have a substantial inheritance but face challenges with Medicaid eligibility for long-term care, or receive a modest inheritance but qualify for Medicaid assistance without issue?
Oh, I'd rather receive a substantial inheritance and then do some Medicaid planning.
Yes,
so
and hire you, come hire you, and get everything together.
Right, hire me, hire somebody.
Yes.
But yeah, absolutely A.
Yeah. But how funny is that? Like, so fitting for what we were just talking about. What are the chances? Would you rather have a comprehensive estate plan in place but live in a nursing home, or have no estate plan and live independently at home?
I don't see how they would be mutually exclusive. Do I have to pick one or the other?
You can do whatever you want.
I'll have no estate plan and live at home. And let the chips fall where they may.
Okay. Would you rather... let me see if I like... Would you rather face age discrimination in the workplace but have excellent health insurance coverage, or have job security but limited access to health care? That's a little different.
Well, yeah, neither. Neither.
You're great at this game.
Neither. Yeah, but when my daughter used to play this with me, you weren't allowed to say neither.
Yes.
You had to pick
well,
one.
We're not allowed.
Okay.
But, you know, we could do whatever you want.
I'll take the good health insurance and the discrimination.
Really? Because you could just, you know, what's that called? Let it roll off your back, right? Just think of the end goal.
I probably couldn't.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so would you rather have a durable power of attorney for healthcare but lack financial security, or have financial stability but lack someone to make the healthcare decisions for you if you needed?
Well, that's a mixing and a matching.
Okay.
I would rather have, this wasn't an option, but I'd rather have a durable power of attorney for handling my finances and not have a healthcare proxy. And why is that? Mm-hmm. Because in New York, we have the Family Health Care Act, I think it's called, where if you have no healthcare proxy, the hospital can look to your next of kin to make decisions for you if you can't make them for yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to be flapping in the wind. Now, if you don't have any next of kin, you're out of luck.
Got it.
I'd rather have someone be able to take care of my finances, assuming that the hospital will have someone to talk to figure out my health care.
Got it. So, yeah, last would you rather question, and then we'll jump into a few this or that elder law edition. Would you rather have a living will that restricts certain medical treatments but ensures your wishes are respected, or have no living will and leave medical decisions to family members?
Oh, I'd rather have a living will.
Yeah.
Because then my family members know what my wishes would be if there are end-of-life decisions to be made.
Yes.
I'd rather have them know what I want than have to try to guess and then feel guilty that maybe they didn't get it right.
Okay, great. There was actually another question, maybe this relates to it. It was saying, what is the difference between, or I guess, what is a do not resuscitate DNR order? Because I guess that could be part of the person's wishes as well.
Okay, so
how does that work?
that tends to be done in the moment. Like if you're rushed into the hospital with a heart attack, and let's say I'm in miserable health, I'm 96. They're going to ask me, or they're going to ask my next of kin, do you want to sign a do not resuscitate order? What that means is, if I should go into cardiac arrest, do you want to be resuscitated or don't you? Now, sometimes, resuscitating someone who's about to naturally die isn't a great idea. Like, do I want to be resuscitated and be on a bunch of tubes and machines and blah, 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 and maybe I'm brain dead or whatever? Or if my body is having the wisdom to decide it's time to die, that happen.
Got it.
So,
perfect. Yeah, someone wanted to know about that in particular.
Yeah, that's usually more than a pre-planning thing. Like a healthcare proxy, we do in advance. I appoint someone to make decisions for me if I can't make them. A DNR is more something that gets done in the moment when you're in the hospital for a specific thing.
Perfect. Okay, are you ready for this or that elder law edition? So you got to choose one or the other, Lori. Okay, we're not gonna make. Well, you could do whatever you want. If you want to make up other scenarios, we can too. Okay, so first, this or that: guardianship or power of attorney.
Power of attorney.
Okay, and feel free to expound if you.
Well, because power of attorney is going to cost you. Several $100s, and a guardianship is going to cost you several $1,000, and 9 months getting it in place. And
so you're not a fan, would you say, overall?
Like, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
I'm not a fan.
Yes. Okay, good to know. Nursing home or in-home care?
In-home care.
Yes, to be more comfortable. Medicare or Medicaid?
Both.
Both, yeah. But in terms of...
they're not, it's not one or the other.
Yes,
Medicare will pay for certain things and will not pay for other things.
Yes.
And Medicaid will pay for the things Medicare won't pay for. So, they're not...
both, yeah. But you work more with Medicaid,
Well, I do, because it's a means-tested program and we have to actually get people onto Medicaid. Medicare is an entitlement that, the minute you turn 65, you can have Medicare.
Got it. And this is the next this or that. This is a topic that we wanted to discuss in another video, another live. But elder abuse or financial exploitation.
Oh, they're both awesome.
I know. I don't know how I feel about this.
I mean, they're kind of, I think of them as abuse, synonymous. Abuse meaning physical, slapping someone around, or exploitation.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a tough one.
It depends. Yeah,
they're both so nice.
Yeah. No. And I think
none of the above.
Yes, none of the above. But yeah, I think we should definitely do a live on elder abuse, because that's a big question that comes up, and being protected and hiring an elder law attorney to help set them up.
Exploitation is very, very common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get into a live about that. I don't know why I can't say conservatorship or trust.
Well, trust.
Yeah.
Conservatorship is when someone is in New York. We don't have conservatorships anymore. We have guardianships, but that's when someone is appointed to manage your life. A trust is you're putting your own assets in a trust, appointing a trustee, telling them what they can do. So, trust.
Okay. Living will or advanced directive?
A living will is an advanced directive. A living will, a power of attorney, a healthcare proxy, they're all considered advanced directives.
Got it.
A living will is the one that says, if I am in an irreversible vegetative state with no hope of recovery, do I want to be kept alive by various means, or do I want you to let me go?
Got it.
So that's a document that expresses ahead of time what your wish would be in that scenario.
Yeah.
Not that your condition will necessarily be cut and dry if that time comes, but it's our best guess of what we would prefer to have done.
Got it. Age discrimination or disability discrimination?
Oh, I love them both.
I know.
Yeah, no. I get less.
Okay.
And why is
Yes.
that? Well, you're only old for part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
They're both bad. Like
Well, they're both bad.
Yeah, we know.
They're both bad.
Social Security benefits or pension? This is interesting.
Both.
Okay, yeah. So if you have,
Well, no, they're the same thing. Some
Yeah.
people have only Social Security. Some people, because of the job they worked in,
Yeah.
also have a pension.
and we were talking about too, nowadays jobs don't really have pensions like they used to do.
Not like it
Not
used
just,
to be.
yeah, like it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have both, which is awesome.
Elder law attorney or estate planning attorney, which it's
It depends on your
interest, your expertise.
Well, no,
or
it depends probably on your assets. Like if you are a very, very wealthy person and your main concern is estate taxes, then a trust and estates attorney would be a good choice. If you are of more modest means, an elder law attorney would probably be the way to go, because we're thinking, well, if long-term care is necessary, you don't have the means to pay for it indefinitely because it's a fortune. So we're going to have to plan your estate accordingly.
Okay.
So I guess that's the distinction I would make.
Yes. No, that makes sense, especially when you talk about an estate for, people that are wealthy. Elder mediation or litigation?
Oh, mediation.
Mediation.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can, right? That's always best. I feel like we kind of know. I guess these are just a quick one or the other, because you did expound on these already.
Answer. Okay.
Yeah. Elder long-term care insurance or self-funding? Just one or the other.
Long-term care insurance.
Yeah. Revocable trust or irrevocable trust?
Depends.
Depends.
They're both good.
Okay.
Depends on what.
For
Depends on your needs and your situation.
Okay. Okay. Last two: independent living community or assisted living community facility. Sorry. Independent living community or assisted living facility.
Depends on your needs.
Yeah, and you kind of explain like the differences.
How independent you are.
Yes. And lastly, healthcare proxy or medical power of attorney. Sometimes people get those confused.
Well, some states call them healthcare proxy, and some states call them medical power of attorney. They're the same thing.
They are. Okay.
We call them a healthcare proxy in New York.
In New York State, which is what matters to us, because
right. That's what we care about.
That's what we work about. Excellent. Did you have fun? I thought this was fun and different, and fun little game.
Yeah, fun game.
Yeah, so I thank you everyone for tuning in. We're going to plan to do Live with Lori weekly. Every week we'll try to have a different topic. I know there were some questions about like dementia, so we can start talking about that, health-related topics, and go from there. So thank you so much for tuning in. And feel free to come back on and watch the replay if you guys missed us. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye, Lori. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.